You're listening to an East Coast Guild podcast. Check us out at eastcoastguild.com.
Hello there, and welcome to That's No Moon, a Star Wars podcast where we want you to call in and ask us questions. If you're listening live right now, you can join us on Twitch. But if you're not listening live, then listen live next time because it's fun. Today, we are talking about episode 1 and 2 of The Bad Batch, now streaming on Disney+. So if you have not watched episode 1 and 2, please turn off this show until afterwards if you don't want anything spoiled for you, because nothing is off limits for this conversation today. I'm Leah.
I'm Jim. Hi.
And we are your hosts.
Really excited about this. And again, just to stress and give you guys another couple of seconds, leave because spoilers are imminent. Also, that was a great intro. You did really good with that.
Thanks.
That's way better than what I did last week where I was fumbling for 20 minutes.
We had to record 5 separate intros this week for various podcast episodes.
So you're just boom.
Mood.
There you go.
Yeah.
Knock it out. All right. Also, if you guys do watch live, you guys do get the pre-show, which our pre-show is just us catching up for over the week. And stuff like that. Stuff that you guys don't normally see. So definitely come and show up live. All right, so
The
Bad Batch. Oh my gosh, were you like super thrilled about it just as much as I was? It was so good.
I didn't get home until really late on Tuesday.
Yeah,
and I recorded my other podcast, and I was like, okay, bye. I gotta watch The Bad Batch before it gets too late.
You're like Star Wars.
And I came home, and I just plunked down and I threw my phone under the other couch and I was like, nothing is interrupting me for the next 70 minutes. It opens.
The opening was so good.
I was like, so it opens with the Clone Wars logo that burns away to the Bad Batch logo, and I was like,
yep.
From literally the first second, it was nothing like I expected. Which I loved that it wasn't what I expected.
We were watching it in a watch party in Discord, and it was just glorious. I watched the beginning twice, so I've seen the beginning. Poor Dabala. I've watched her die so many times in the past week.
Depo Balaba?
Yeah, I listen to her name and I'm like, blah la 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 la. It just makes me laugh. But okay. How long did it take for you to realize that was Kanan?
Not long at all, because literally 2 weeks ago I read the Kanan comics.
So once they said that it was Caleb, I was like, oh, that's Kanan. The guy I was watching it with Panda. Panda was like, you got that way quicker than I did.
I literally, as soon as we saw Depo Balaba, I went, no, we're starting with Order 66, which we knew was going to happen. But I didn't think it was going to be Caleb and Depa on their Order 66. Actually, it makes sense because it's Dave Filoni,
yeah.
But...
Well, and it helped build the background for that character so much more and everything like that, too.
Oh, yeah, because Kanan has some serious clone trauma, so...
Yeah, he does. It's like, you killed her! Well, actually, it was somebody else, but I understand. I'm confused, too.
Yeah. So it opens with Depo Balaba on this planet that I don't know the name of, and it's probably not important. Collar. And she is waiting on her Padawan to bring help.
Yes.
And they're like, it's too late to have help. And she's like, just trust him. And he comes back, and it's itty bitty Caleb with the voice of Freddie Prinze Jr., which I have to say, I liked it, but I didn't like it because it's a really big. Fit. No, it's a really big voice coming out of a very tiny body.
You're hearing it's like seeing me as a big guy, and then which voice modulate, and then
it's hearing this voice come out of my body.
That was the comparison it felt like, because I'm looking at him, and then it's you're expecting a little bit of a squeak, and it's just hello, and you're like, hold up.
30-year-old Kanan's voice out of a 12-year-old.
And they tried to hide it, which is why some people didn't notice that it was Kanan at first. And I was like, instantly, I didn't even have to hear the voice. I heard the name Caleb, and I was like, that's Kanan. I was like,
Yep.
that sucks because I know what's going to happen here.
So he's like, I found 5 clone troopers, and then the commander, who's Commander Gray, I think,
Yeah, it's Commander
is
Gray.
like, only 5. They're not gonna make a big difference. And then we re-meet the Bad Batch.
Oh yeah, we do. That was the part that I liked too, because it was like Captain Gray's like, oh, five clones, that's all you got? That's our reinforcements? What do you mean? And then next thing you know, he's like, trust me. And then you just see a boulder fall down the entire mountain and take out half of these droids.
So the 5, which we know, the 5 are worth like a whole squadron or 2.
Yeah. They're worth less than a Jedi, but more than the 501st.
Yeah, pretty much. And so they defeat the droids, the separatist droids, and
which was glorious to watch. Wonderful action scene to open up the entire show.
Also, the animation has stepped up even since season 7 of Clone Wars. It's gorgeous.
It was gorgeous and seamless. It just looked good. It felt immersive. I loved it. I've watched, as I said, I've watched them twice. I could watch it a third time.
Yeah, I need to go back and rewatch the first 2 this week when I have more time before episode 3 comes out.
And then you're gonna have to watch episode 3 again.
Yes, next week I have way less on my plate than
that's
this
the
week.
best part. I watched episode 2 at work while I was like grading papers and stuff, just because like I had the background noise, I could like listen and get some stuff done. And then I watched it again when I got home, and I was like, okay, there we go. That's big. Yeah, because we'll have to sit down and watch the second one at some point in time. By the way, if you guys ever want to watch these things and you guys aren't in my Discord, you guys should get in there because we will watch Star Wars every week.
Maybe I should join the watch party next time.
See, there you go. Wednesdays.
Okay.
We try to have watch parties on Wednesdays. So.
I think I have an interview on Wednesday, but maybe next Wednesday.
And so it was really cool. Then he's like, Captain Gray's like, oh, Clone Force 99. And
they're like these celebrities in the little clone community.
Oh yeah. And so then they come back, they walk up and they're like, do you have orders for us or do we just do what we do? And which, by the way, I love Wrecker because Wrecker's just like, young Jedi, where were you? You missed all the fun. Like, the amount of that character, I love Wrecker so much.
Also, we'll get to episode 2, but Wrecker's outfit in episode 2, it was just the icing on the cake. It was so cute.
It was perfect. It was perfect for Wrecker. But that was really cool. And then you had Tech, who is basically like, yeah, Kenobi beat up General Grievous, so the war's pretty much over. She's not gonna need our help. Insert. Where's the voice for it? Execute Order 66. Which
literally that.
And then next thing you know, Balaba just turns and goes, "You said what?" And the next thing you know, she's getting attacked
by her entire squad, which I like the way I like this version of her death better than the comic version. The canon comics aren't my favorite.
People were mad about the retcon of those, which I understand being mad about a retcon, because retcons, they're just they create these in-continuity things and things that you said were in canon. Now they don't, like, you know, you're picking and choosing your canon, which you're allowed to do, but it's annoying because you said this was canon and now you're changing it. So where I understand that, like, I thought that was the best Order 66 we've seen on screen.
Yeah.
Next to Fallen Order.
Yes.
Those were the 2 best Order 66 scenes that we've gotten, just because they were actual scenes. Like that, well, I guess so it'd be like, also with like Ahsoka's. Like, Ahsoka had a full episode though, so I don't really want to count hers as just a scene, but like...
She had a whole movie, basically.
Yeah. But like, when you had those like pieced together Order 66s of what happened to Tapo Japal or whatever, which was Fallen Order, you had like a whole like 20-minute level experience watching as he went through Order 66 with Cal. Then you have, you have this one, which was just amazing to watch and everything like that. It was an actual full scene and it felt good to watch. And I mentioned one other that I completely forgot because my brain's gone completely numb. But they were just, I like that we're getting these ideas of these actual Order 66s versus Star Wars Episode 3. Like it's almost kind of retconning Episode 3, which I'm okay with, because the Order 66 scene from there was so bad.
It's bad, and we don't have, like, at that point we didn't have any Clone Wars content. It was just like, oh, the soldiers are turning up. What? It feels so out of place, which, I mean, I guess it would be out of place when your entire army turns on you, but...
Yeah, but I mean, it's just, you're watching these Jedi who are supposed to amount to thousands upon thousands of clones. They're supposed to amount to that. And they're getting killed by
down.
5. They're getting killed by 10. Like, that, come on. There's got to be something going on here that is a little bit better than that. In my opinion. So,
but we have like 60 more minutes of the episode to go through.
Oh yeah, we have so much. Like, that's the first little bit was just Order 66 happens, because then you have Caleb who runs away because he's like,
don't kill me.
Just killed my master.
And the whole time the Bad Batch is not being affected by the Order because of
85 to 90% of them are not. Now, no, there's only 5, so that each of them is 20%. So just to put it in there, 90% of them are like not complying.
Yeah. So Hunter goes to try to catch
with Crosshair.
Scared Caleb with Crosshair, who has never been my favorite and is now very much not my favorite after this episode.
Good soldiers
He's always been kind of
follow orders.
Yeah, they did really good giving him that creepy voice from the beginning.
Oh, I loved it.
Don't like it. So he chases Caleb in the woods, and Crosshair's trying to kill him, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And a little fight ensues between the clones. Ultimately, Hunter lets Caleb escape.
Yes.
And starts telling the other clones that, oh yeah, he fell down this ravine and he died.
Yes.
And Crosshair pretty much gives him shit for it the rest of the episode about lying to his squad.
Yeah, which was very fun and interesting to have to deal with too.
So they come back to Camino, and already the Empire has set in. Like, I guess normally they can land freely on their home planet, but now they need a code to land.
Well, not to mention everybody knows who they are.
Yeah, and so they're taken aback by that, and they land, and all the clones are just acting weird.
Not to mention, it's completely filled with shock troopers and the Coruscant Guard.
Oh yes. Also, at this point, there's a dead Jedi, which has been confirmed. It's not Shaak Ti.
Who is it?
So who the hell is it? No one knows. The show creators confirmed that it's not Shaak Ti, but they won't tell us who it is.
But who else was on Camino?
It plays into my theory about Omega, which we'll talk about in a minute. But it's not Shaak Ti.
Who else was on Camino?
I don't know.
Did Shaak Ti have a Padawan?
I don't think so.
Now I gotta find out.
I know. I'm waiting for you to look it up because I can hear typing over there.
That was Legends lore.
So we don't know who that...
Shaak Ti in canon. I don't think that she might not.
We don't know much about her.
Well, because she was a master, wasn't she?
Yes.
So that means she's had to have had a Padawan. You can't become a master without having a Padawan.
So at some point. But yes, so that is not Shaak Ti under the blanket when they're coming into the hangar. Which I learned yesterday, but...
She doesn't have a Padawan. Interesting.
So who's this other Jedi that was on Camino?
Exactly, because it didn't look like... I'll be honest, it didn't look like a Tigrunta. like a Togruta.
No.
Like it didn't. Like that looked like a very human shape under the curtain.
Yes.
Like they would have had to cut off her
Montrails.
Her Montrails and stuff, like to make that even remotely possible to be her.
Yeah.
I forgot that she was there. In all honesty, until you said that, I was
See,
like, "Oh my god!"
I thought it was her, but then looking at it, I was like, I mean, maybe it's her.
Yeah,
it's not her. The show creators
that's good to
confirmed it's not her.
Well, and that didn't look like her lightsaber either. I mean,
no, it's not. Literally, when I googled Bad Batch to pull up the reference here, one of the results was Shakti's lightsaber. So
yeah,
the people are digging into it.
Yeah, that didn't look like her lightsaber. It looked a little bit different. A little bit different.
So they noticed that all the other clones are being very strange, very rude, but they're
Ruder
like,
than normal.
It's not really different than a normal day because they all hate us.
Yeah. That's the funny thing, because Tech's like, "Hey, where are you guys from?" And they just like shoulder bash him. He's like, "I don't notice a difference." And like Hunter's got that heightened sense where he's like, something's going on here. He's got that like the wolf, like enough wolf DNA to be like, something's up.
Something's screwy.
Something screwy's going on here.
So they, for brevity's sake, they end up into the cantina where they meet Omega.
Yep.
Who's this humanoid child that we speculated about weeks ago.
Yeah.
And she sits with them at lunch.
That she's a female.
Yes, she's definitely a female. She is a female clone that
Who's super Australian.
Out. Yeah, she's got a little Kiwi accent.
Like, it comes out very heavy in episode 1.
And she's not voiced by Dee Bradley Baker, which is fueling the rumors that she's not a Jango clone. She's a clone of somebody else.
Yes, but she is an enhanced clone.
Yes. So she sits with them at lunch. They get called the Sad Batch by the other clone troopers, which I thought was just the lamest nickname that they could have thought of for them. Yeah. A food fight starts, kind of.
Record.
By Omega.
Well,
Omega starts
something, and Record decides, no, we're not done yet.
And then ultimately Echo ends up passing out. And who else is there at Camino but our buddy Governor Tarkin, who is there to put an end to the Kaminoans' clone troopers, because all the deals that they made with were with the Republic, and the Republic no longer exists. So
that's how you get yourself right on there out of a contract.
You just killed the entire Republic.
I had an agreement with Jim. My name is no longer Jim, so therefore you no longer have an agreement with me.
Yes. So this brings up a topic that they were talking about on the podcast I listened to yesterday, where if the Empire had not been cheap and had continued to get clone troopers instead of conscripted troopers, would they have won?
Honestly.
Because they're such better soldiers and they can hit things.
Well, stormtroopers can hit things. Plot doesn't allow them to. There's a difference. Like,
but if they kept the clone troopers.
Yeah, if they kept the clone troopers, they would have
won.
They would have, there's no reason to say that the Empire wouldn't have squashed the rebellion.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no way for that to be said.
Little untrained Luke was not going to fight 10,000 clone troopers and come out alive. He's just not.
Well, not to mention that we would have had the line of, "You're a little short for a stormtrooper, aren't you?" Like, that would have never been a line, because, like, he would have never made it to that point.
True.
So I don't know. I was thinking the same thing, actually. I was like, if they had kept the clones, they would have never, like, the rebels wouldn't have won. Like, I just can't see them winning through that.
Well, because I see it in episode 2 where they're all at that hangar and the forces mobilize. Like, they're already so much better than stormtroopers ever were at, like, getting to the point of action and trying to take care of it, because they move as a unit. They're all under the same training.
You take out the human element.
Yeah.
Like, because they're born and bred to be warriors. And the problem is, though, Django's DNA is gone.
Yeah.
By this point. So, like,
they
when's it going to run out?
They would have needed a new source.
Yeah, they would have had to find a new bounty hunter to source that from. And
but
it couldn't have been
like...
Boba, because that would have been tainted DNA, because he's already cloned.
I feel like Palpatine could have found someone very easily.
He would have found somebody, yeah, but...
What if we got Anakin clones?
No.
The DNA is still there. He's not much of a human, but he's still got his DNA.
I don't know that I want to. I don't know if I want to go down that path of having all these little angsty, force-sensitive babies.
They can fix that. It's the inhibitor chips for. Anyway, where were we in the episode?
So they go with General Tarkin to do all this fighting. Basically, who Tarkin's like, you know what? Turn on the live rounds. Let's see how they react.
Yeah, which I was not okay with. When Wrecker got shot, I was like, oh no. They're not going to stay. And I mean, we knew when they weren't going to stay with the Empire, but after that one shot, they were not staying with the Empire.
Well, because I thought it was funny. Wrecker's like, they were like, we're not getting it, we're not getting in trouble for what we started in the cantina. No, you're being trained. And Wrecker's like, I like this place. I get to blow stuff up and beat people up. Let's go.
Like, we get to fight more.
Wrecker's mindset was perfect for the Empire if he had an inhibitor chip that worked.
Yeah, he's too morally good to fight the way that they want him to fight, though.
Well, but that's the thing for all of them, right? Like, their inhibitor chips don't work, and their morals are still intact. Except for Crosshair! Because half of his doesn't work. We
did skip over the best scene where Echo's knocked out and they're in the infirmary. And the droid is like, I have some disturbing news. You're all 5 genetically defective clones. And they're like, yeah, so.
Like, oh no. I had no idea.
But it's there that they say that there are 5. Or no, it's when they're talking Tarkin, but they say that there are 5 modified clones.
Well, they said there were 5. No, the robot said there was 5 too. Like, he said there was 5 in the area.
And we remember, wait a minute, Echo's a reg. He's just in the squad because he was tortured.
And turned into a machine, basically.
Yes. He's more machine than man, as Tech says.
Thanks, Tech.
Percentage-wise, at least.
Thanks, Tech.
And so Tarkin likes what he sees. He sends them on a mission to Onderon to squash a band of rebels, early rebels.
Although he doesn't call them rebels.
No, he calls them insurgents, doesn't he?
He says insurgents.
Yeah. And so they're like, all right, a new mission. And
let's go kill some clones.
Our new friend Omega is like, don't go. She knows something. We still don't know what she knows, but she knew something about this.
Well, she even said, I don't know exactly, but I know he doesn't like clones, so he has it out for you.
Yeah.
Like, he wants you to fail.
And they do fail, but... And who lives on Onderon but our friend Saw Gerrera.
God, I hate him so much.
But it's at this point where, I mean, we knew Crosshair was... Something is weird with Crosshair.
Because he wanted to kill the Jedi. He wanted to do all these things, and he's like holding this thing. Oh my gosh. And you were about to mention it, but that scene...
He puts a grandma in his scope and is like, let me know when you're ready to shoot. And we're all like, what? Calm down there, buddy. We're not shooting the grandma and the children.
And that's the thing. Hunter's like, whoa. Like, we don't know what's going on here. This is weird. These aren't droids that they're asking us to kill. Like, they're asking us to kill men, women, and children. Like, that's not what we do. We don't kill women and children in war. Which, has that very, like, that older... idea to it.
Other than Saw, like, none of these people are even fighters either. Like,
there were some Republic fighters,
but it's very few. Mostly it's just refugees. So it's a really good scene that shows Crosshair definitely has something up with his chip because he's still following orders, and that's not what they're known for, is following orders. But also, I think Saw's speech that he gives the clones, yes, Saw is crazy, but it's a good reflection of how this transition from Republic to Empire happens, and the rebellion cells are formed, and it's just, I really like the scene, even though Saw is insane.
Not quite insane. This is
Not yet.
pre-insane Saw.
This is pre-Forrest Whitaker Saw, but he's always been a little crazy.
He's always been a little extra. But yeah, he talks to them and everything like that, and it's like, hey, by the way,
think about what you're doing.
Think about what you're doing. Which, not gonna lie, if he had talked to any other squad of clones, well, he wouldn't have. He'd be dead.
They would have just gunned them down.
Like that's just would have happened. But they sent in, the elite squad to do this, and of course, then Hunter's like, no, we're not doing this, and they leave. And right before they leave, Crosshair's starting crap again. He's like, you need to do these orders. You need to do these orders. And he's like, when were you the person to want to follow our orders? And then they kill a probe droid, and what?
Like that Tarkin has been spying on them.
And Echo was like, the Jedi never did that. And Tech's like, that you know of.
Which
I'm like, no, the
fair.
Jedi, that's fair, but the Jedi didn't really spy on you. They didn't have a reason to.
No, they didn't. And 99% of the time, they were with the clones anyway, so like they didn't need to.
But it was just interesting. And then Crosshair, of course, gets mad about disobeying orders over a kid and yada yada yada.
So they decide to go rescue Omega.
Yeah, because obviously Tarkin has it out for them. They're gonna kill. He's like, they're gonna kill Omega, which I don't think anything was gonna happen to Omega. But
no, and it's here that Tech gives the great line of, "Yeah, she's an altered clone," and they're all like, "What are you talking about?" And he goes, "I thought it was obvious," and they're all just like, "No, it's not."
Tech.
I love Tech. Tech's my second favorite after Wrecker.
Tech, I swear.
He needs to get better at communicating with his squad, though, because there are several instances where he's like, it was obvious.
He's like, I thought you
all
knew.
are too stupid to realize it. And
he's
they're
like,
no.
What do you mean? And then it was really cool. They go back. They are now traitors to the Empire. They go back to Kamino. Omega goes into Clone Force 99's quarters with AZ.
Rest in peace, AZ.
yeah. I had to watching it the second time. Definitely R.I.P. AZ.
Yeah, AZ did not survive that.
Because the first time you're like, oh, he's fine, and then you see like the little bit of smoke. Like I missed the smoke the first time. He's gone.
Nah, he's not going back.
So he went to go do that. They went to go do that. They got caught in there. Then the Havoc Marauder, which is their ship, comes into Kamino. They basically get off. They're like, we're gonna split up and go find Omega. And then they're surrounded by shock troopers at this point. So they are now enemies of the state, and they are put to the brig. They are captured. And on the bright side, they did find Omega.
They did put her in the same cell as this elite squad of a very large clone trooper who can definitely punch his way out, as we figure out later.
Yeah, which is how they get out. He punches the wall hard enough that he breaks it.
They were not contained well at all. They really should have split them up, but
which was very fair.
Kamino didn't really have a jail. It
was built pre Clone Wars.
Yeah. And but they ultimately
this time, while they're trying to escape, Crosshair goes in for reprogramming.
Yeah, they can just intensify the chip somehow. Literally, they're turning up a dial, and he's getting more and more
obedient,
following orders. It's the science doesn't quite add up there, but we're just gonna go with it.
It's just adjusting the programming. The thing that makes it weird is that it's an organic chip and not a metal chip.
Yeah, like we saw in Rex's head.
Yeah, well, and it is because it's still organic. It's still this organic chip that they've somehow know how to make, which is the science fiction of it, right? But it's just altering the programming in there to be more intense.
Yeah.
Which I was like,
but he goes
hard.
He goes full on crazy.
He is the stormiest of stormtroopers.
Yeah, he can. I mean, with his intense enhanced sharp shooting skills. Like, he's scary.
He's scary. Very. Like, so they end up escaping from their cell down in the bottom of Camino. They're like, okay, let's go to the hangar bay. Let's get all of our stuff on. Then we'll go save Crosshair while Tech gets the ship ready. Well, they find Crosshair, and Crosshair, of course, then tries to kill them all. He puts another solid shot into Wrecker's same shoulder that got hurt before.
It's trained as a medical assistant because they're going to need her.
Yeah, well, not to mention it's a good thing that Echo was a reg because he's the only one who has, like, proper medical training.
True.
Like, so they go through, they're doing this whole beautiful fight scene. If you guys want to see it, you guys need to go watch it.
It is really good.
Very, very good. You get to the point where, you know, you beat up Crosshair. They don't even beat up Crosshair. They just leave. They get away.
Well, Omega shoots at him.
Oh my gosh, yes. As they're getting ready to leave, she shoots at him, which then the second time watching made me go, what if she, okay, hear me out. What if she has all four of their abilities?
I haven't thought about that yet.
So what if she has, like, what if some of them, like, just kick in randomly, right? Because she then missed a couple shots. But what if she hit that shot? She hit his scope.
Yes.
She blew
She's
his
a really
scope
good shot.
up.
So far, she's not demonstrated any strength, though. Like,
Strength?
nothing at Wrecker's level. So
Not at Wrecker's level, but do note she's, like,
she's also,
13.
like, 10.
Yeah, she's adolescent is our age for her. And so, like, she did hit that thing that moved a little bit with her body weight, but she hit it and it broke down. That was pretty sizable. So it's possible. And then, like,
that, okay, that's not a theory I thought of yet.
She's able to sneak up on, you know, on all of them except for Hunter. I mean, and she's pretty dang smart.
She's very smart and very curious.
Yes. I'm like,
I've heard her described as, like, her trait is her curiosity, but the sharpshooting does make sense.
I'm just saying she could have pieces of enhancement of all of them, because that was her first time ever shooting a blaster.
Yeah.
And, like,
we can get into Omega theories between episodes because I got a hot take, but
it's just very interesting. So after that, they leave
into the ship and they fly away, and they're like, we're gonna reach out to an old friend of ours, and then
go to J19.
There were 2 days between episodes. The internet went nuts. J19 is in the Mandalore sector, and people were like, we're gonna see Bo-Katan. I was like, probably not, but
no, Bad
they
Batch,
have their own issues right now.
I don't think the Bad Batch has ever met Bo-Katan. Like,
no,
I don't think you've ever even met.
TikTok was full of Bo-Katan theories because it's in the Mandalore sector.
They love her. They just love her, which is fair. Don't get me wrong. That's great, but it's just that was not. It was. I've only watched the episode once, but it was at that point when Omega's on the ship, because you can tell she's never been off the Camino planet. Mm-hmm. Like, she's never been anywhere. So she gets on the ship and she's, like, enthralled, and I had immediate Phantom Menace parallels drawing in my brain. Because you have this mysterious child on a planet that has these gifts that no one really understands. And then these like, elite people in their sphere come to this planet and end up getting this child off. And both Anakin and Omega have this moment on the ship where they're, like, taken aback by the fact they got off their planet. They're with people who understand them. I mean, Rey and Luke had the same things, too.
Yes. Well, also, you had the parallel of Omega and Rey when they land on a green planet, and they're just like...
Yeah.
So, my theory of who Omega is she's a clone of that Jedi that was dead in the first season.
That's very
because
possible.
We know that there's some kind of midichlorian cloning experiment happening on Camino. That's where Grogu comes from before the Mandalorian. They're doing something. The Kaminoans...
was that confirmed that Grogu's a clone?
It's not confirmed, but the scientist who's running those experiments on him in season 1 is from Camino. He's a Kaminoan scientist. I forget his name. The really nerdy guy who Mando does not kill. So he's a Kaminoan scientist. We got those weird failed clones in a jar. But the thing is, that scientist is human. He's not one of the long, skinny-necked Kaminoans. So something has happened once Tarkin comes on the scene that the Empire gets all up in their business.
I'd be interested about that if they go down there, because I mean, I don't think we have anything right now on it.
So
because Grogu was born in 41 BBY before the Battle of Yavin, so he was raised in the temple, so he's not a clone, but
he's not a clone, but
they were doing cloning things, yes.
Yes. And they that's
ultimately during Vader comic 8 or 9. One, the Emperor has Luke's hand in a jar. Yeah, I know. And because Vader found his way to Exegol, so Luke's hand is there, and there's Snoke clones.
So I'm wondering if the Kaminoans figured out how to clone someone who's Force sensitive. They succeeded, which is why they sacrificed so much lying to Tarkin to get her off the planet, because they know that this technology and this human in the hands of the Empire is not going to end well.
If they find out, no.
And ultimately, Palpatine's going to find out, which is going to end to all the Kaminoans dying, and these human scientists being brought in to try to replicate it, and they're not going to be able to replicate it to that degree. And eventually we get to the Palpatine clone in the sequel trilogy, which is not nearly as functional as Omega.
No.
That's my crazy theory.
That's a solid theory, because I was thinking you were going to say that she's going to be Force sensitive, which she could have been. There were, I think, legends. Of course, using legends, right? I think there was legend lore of a few stormtroopers as well as clone troopers who happened to be Force sensitive. It's possible.
Even if she's not Force sensitive, it's possible that in the cloning process it just manifests as heightened awareness.
Well, and that's the thing, right? It very well could have been like the Chiss second sight.
Yeah.
Or what the Jedi's call double vision.
Yeah.
It could have been that precognition kind of aspect, or it could have literally just been that she was a clump of cells that the midichlorians just decided, hey, we're gonna take an interest. The Force literally could have just been we're taking an interest in you, which the Force has the right to do.
Parallel.
Yeah, it does.
It goes back to the Anakin parallel.
It does.
But there's so much of that first episode that is like Phantom Menace, and I couldn't unsee it once it hit me when she's in the ship. I was like,
Yeah. Now, see, I'm going to go back and rewatch it again, and I'm going to feel either the same way or not the same way, and I'm going to cry myself to sleep because of it.
Let me know.
I will. Gosh. Yeah, no, it'd be interesting. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I mean, who knows what's gonna show with her at all. Because
she's obviously important. And her
well,
name being Omega.
What one of them? Well, because she's the last clone.
Yes. Well, we know the Kaminoans are not gonna keep cloning.
Yeah.
They're all gonna die somehow.
Exactly. And so I don't know. I one of them did say something. Gosh, I just forgot the line. I just had in my head to throw out there. But one of them did say something oh yeah. So no, it was in the next episode, which is a perfect segue.
Yes.
So they go to find somebody, and the person they go to find is Cut. If you guys don't remember Cut, Cut, what's their last name? La'Quane. Cut La'Quane was a deserter from the Clone War. Because he was the last. I love
that they brought him back.
Yes, and he was the last of his squad.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else died, and he was the only one alive, so he left.
He married a Twi'lek. They have 2 Twi'lek children. I'm not sure how that works, but it does.
Not my problem. Not my concern.
We're gonna roll with it.
And when they go to see Cut, Hunter's talking about this clone and how she might be enhanced, and he's like, I don't know, maybe she was just an accident like us. He goes, No. The Kaminoans don't make mistakes. He's like, every clone was made for a purpose. And
Hunter's like, he just brushes it off.
Yeah, as Hunter does. Also, they landed on what's the planet called? Oh gosh.
Salukami?
Salukami. And she's like, dirt. She's like, what is
she's
this?
she's got that Ray look of like, I never knew there was that much green in the galaxy.
Yeah. And
it's really cute.
And Tech's like, that's dirt. And so like she's like kicking the dirt around, all that stuff. It was wonderful. Loved it.
And the poor kid has no clue how to be a kid because she's grown up with all these like robots and scientists and clone guys, basically. And the Twilight kids are like, they throw a ball at her and she's like, what's the purpose of this? And they're just like, have fun.
They're like, catch the ball, like.
And she's like, I don't understand.
And of course, then like they do, you know, they're playing catch and stuff like that. She's like, I caught it. It was really cool. And then, you know, things get a little hairy because Omega threw the ball too far and it didn't get caught by, I think it was Jack.
And this crazy monster that we see in the Phantom Menace just appears out of the grass.
Well, we also saw it at the beginning of the episode too.
I knew that looked familiar, but I couldn't place what it was from. And then this article reminded me that it's from
the Phantom Menace.
The Phantom Menace, yeah. These are Nuna, and they're more commonly found on Naboo. But they also live on this planet.
Okay. Interesting. So yeah, they're fighting them. They fight it.
Oh, sorry. These are the Nexu, the little chicken frogs. They're Nuna.
Oh, the chicken frogs. Okay.
I like those things. They're weird.
They are weird. They fight the beast and you know, get it to go away. Hunter scolds Omega. Omega like runs off. Cut stops Omega and is like an actual parent and is like, look, like, it's okay. It happens. Don't worry about it. It'll be fine. And now, no, this happened. Jack told Omega, we'll get it later. Don't worry about it right now, because they knew what was past the fence. But Omega not knowing, and the reason Jack had to go inside was because they actually had to go and start packing, because Hut wants to get off the planet. He wants to go to the farther outer rim, as far as he can go, get a plot of land and start a farm, and just him and his family, not a problem.
Because he was already in trouble with the Republic because he was deserter. So he's not going to end well under the Empire.
Yeah, because if they find out he was a deserter from the Clone Wars, like... I mean, now, no, they did leave some clones alone. They left, you know, Rex and them alone. Like, they were like, oh, these are some just decommissioned clones, like, whatever.
Yeah.
But that was later on. Like, this is fresh still. Like, the war is just over. They haven't stopped using clones yet.
Yeah.
So they find out about the Imperial occupation, and now everybody's getting registered. Everybody is getting their social security number.
Their chain code.
Yep. They all have to have a chain code. They can't travel without it. They can't have a ship without one. They can't have credits without one. They basically cut everything down.
Which I love the exchange between Echo and Tech of clone troopers want names to get away from their numbers, and now everyone with a name is being assigned a number. And I was
they want one.
Yes, they want a number. The clones cannot, like, they can't understand why you'd want to be assigned a number.
Yeah, and Tech was like, interesting, isn't it? He was like, just laughing
You can make a database of the whole galaxy.
Exactly. You can know who everybody is at any point in time, which was part of it. You know, it was part of keeping everything in order, because then everybody has a name, everybody has a number, they know who everybody is. Part
of any dictatorship regime.
Yeah.
Throughout world history.
They had some way of marking who everybody was.
Yep.
Well, here's the thing though. Now we need to have chain codes for Cut and his family. So how are we going to do that?
Good thing Echo and Tech are really good at forging things.
Right? It's a good thing one of them is basically more droid than clone, and the other one's just a database. A genius. So these two in the Havoc Marauder are sitting there, which, by the way, they did not know that Omega was crying in the pilot seat at the time.
which furthers my theory of she's a clone of the Jedi who died because she hasn't been given proper time to mourn. And so that's like she's hiding away because she's been, yelled at by her new parents.
Yeah. Which makes sense. It's the way it goes.
And whatever this thing is on her head has some kind of meaning. She takes it off when she's crying and looks at it. And I was expecting her to open it up, but she didn't.
It has meaning to her, so I can't wait till we find out more about that.
Mm-hmm.
Tech and Echo are like, we're going to have the ship impounded.
Which is genius.
Which is a really good idea. But they're like, we'll get the ship impounded so that way we can sneak over, get these cards, and then we're good. Well, things never go as planned because they magnetic lock the ship down. Which is a problem, which becomes a problem later on.
Makes sense if you're impounding ships, just in case there's a stowaway.
Well, just in case by the random chance somebody... Here's the thing. Stormtroopers wouldn't have done that because they're like, no, nobody's going to get past us. It's not going to be a problem. The clones are like, just in case somebody gets past us, let's make sure that that's closed.
Yep.
And so they go through. They are in there. Echo sneaks in, gets the blanks, gets the machine that they need so that way they can encrypt and put the stuff on there. And they put together 5 data chips. But it's interesting because the Laquanes only have 4 in their family.
Mm-hmm.
Because Hunter has decided that Omega is going to go with the Laquanes because he can't be a dad. He's like, I don't know how to do this. You're going with them. Which is
major Mando vibes because he tried the same thing.
He did many times.
This is your kid now. No, I don't think it is.
That's not how that works, buddy. So they go, they get it done, and they're like, okay, we need to get all these things there. How are we going to do that? They're going to talk and look around at something, and they turn back around. They're like, where's Omega? And she's run away with the blank chain code cards.
She's a bad.
She is. She is part of the Bad Batch, guys. It makes sense now. So she ran off. Yeah, they ran off. And, well, she ran off. Had to dodge some clones. She got out, and as she was about to get caught, Wrecker had been sent to come and help, and he helps her out. As always, because Uncle Wrecker in his poncho and cowboy hat.
Yes, and I love it. I don't know what he has no reason to be wearing that outfit other than just to blend in.
Yeah,
and he chose the most ridiculous option.
And I want him to be in that all the time.
Yes, that's his new outfit now. He doesn't need armor anymore. Sorry.
No, never needs armor. His poncho is armored. It's good.
Yes. It works so well for him.
It was a very, very good costume for him to wear.
I love it.
And so then he goes and helps Echo and Tech.
He just punches his way out of it.
He really does.
They're like, the magnetic lock's not responding, and he just goes,
yeah, he pulls it off.
It responded to that.
Yeah, he just rips it off and goes, it responded to that. Like, okay, good job, bud. We're proud of you. And Omega gets down. Hunter breaks this to her, is like, hey, by the way, you're gonna go do that, have fun. And then she's like, no, and she walks up with them all. The Laquanes are scared because they're like, oh no, what if these don't work? They all work, they get passed through. And she Omega runs back. Which we don't know about yet. But I thought it was a funny moment when the clone trooper's like, hey, you look a lot like there's a problem in the spaceport. Move along. He was about to be like, you look a lot like me. And I was like, really wanted that.
That was a good line.
I was waiting for that. And then so Cut gets up on there. His family is gone. They're safe. We don't know where they're ever going to be or where they're going to end up, which is fine with us. We watched their ship leave, which was good. And then basically they're about to get on there. Wrecker's like, but where's Omega? And Hunter's like, she's not. I'm right here. And Hunter's face was just like, are you?
She can't listen to orders.
No.
She's just like them.
She's just like them. You're like, kid, come on. What are you doing here? Which is completely fair because no, not only is that what they would do, but it was just like, it was one of those moments. It's like, oh my gosh. So, of course, they all get on the ship. They get away. They live happily ever after. Which is pretty much the episode, which was a really good episode. I very much enjoyed it.
But we had no hints of what's coming next week.
No, we have no idea what's coming next week. My guess is, I think Rex is either going to be next week or in 2 weeks. Now that they know but I only say that because they know about the inhibitor chips now.
Yes, and Rex, they know that Rex got his out.
And so I think that's what they're going to do is they're going to have to, I think they're going to find Rex to get theirs out. As I think would be that.
Just in case.
Mm-hmm. Either that or it's going to wait until they see, either that or next week's going to be a Crosshair week again, where they see him and they go, oh, wait, they did that to his inhibitor chip.
They can do that to ours.
They could do that to ours, and then they need to get rid of him. So they're going to seek Rex out. So I think by episode 5 we're going to see Rex, which will make me happy because I like Rex.
Yeah, I like that they made Crosshair the villain of this because it's very easy to be like, oh, Vader's the villain because he's the villain of everything. But we're not even touching him yet. I think he's coming eventually.
But it was like Rebels. He wasn't the bad guy in Rebels.
Yeah, they just made a new one.
Yeah.
But Crosshair's perfect because he knows the others so well. He's so deadly. And they're not going to want to kill him.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's their brother.
My speculation for the end of the season is Crosshair dies.
Yeah, probably.
Crosshair dies or Wrecker dies.
No. I would not be okay if Wrecker died.
And that is why. And that is why. And
that's something they would do because both Rebels and Clone Wars have ended in a way that destroys you. So I don't like it.
I'm just saying that's my speculation is that one of them is going to die. Now look, neither one of them could die. That could be, wonderful. And neither one of them could have anything bad happen to them, which would be amazing. I would love that. But they're going to have a final confrontation with Crosshair.
Definitely.
They get his inhibitor chip out, they kill him, or they try to get the chip out and it still kills him because of the intensity that's been added to it. Or one of the other 4 dies. And I think that they would go for Wrecker first because I don't know if I feel like they would.
Wrecker in a way that puts himself in the most vulnerable position.
Wrecker would be the easiest to kill.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. I don't even necessarily think that it's like part of it. Yeah, he's a fan favorite, so they could do that to get that like intense emotional feeling. But I think come episode 16, we're gonna love all of them so much that any of them dying, like, I don't think I'd be okay. I think the only one I'd be okay with if something bad happened to them would probably be Tech.
Tech, I like the
because Echo, I love Echo because I'm a huge fan of the 501st, and I've loved Echo for a while. I really started to love Hunter after episode 1.
Hunter's a dad now, whether he likes it or not.
He's a dad. He can't help it. He is now the Din Djarin of the Clone Wars.
He is. But it would make sense if Wrecker was the one to be sacrificed because he is this big brother to Omega, and he would put himself in harm's way to protect her from something.
Yep.
Whatever that something ends up being, whether it's Crosshair or Vader or Palpatine, who the hell knows?
Yeah.
But we also, I think we're gonna get a Vader appearance sometime in the next.
I think we will in season 2. I don't think we will in season 1. I don't think Vader right now makes sense. Vader's hunting Jedi.
Yeah.
So unless they find a Jedi that's not Ahsoka,
I'd like to see that.
If they find a Jedi that's not Ahsoka, then yes, they might see Vader or the Inquisitors. But
what do we think of the chances of them running into Obi-Wan? Because they're gonna make their way to the Outer Rim. They have to.
I think that it's very low. Because I think if we keep having people find Obi-Wan on Tatooine, it starts to raise this question of how could Vader not find Obi-Wan on Tatooine?
This is very true. If Ezra can find him.
Ezra only found him through the will of the Force.
Mm-hmm.
And he led Darth Maul to him. And in all honesty, Vader probably could have found his way there too. But, I mean, Vader didn't want to go back to Tatooine. That was the biggest thing for him. Like, the reason he never searched Tatooine for Obi-Wan was because he didn't want to go back to Tatooine.
Very valid.
But that would be my thing would be like, I think that them finding Obi-Wan Kenobi really starts to question the ability of his hiding spot and how well he went off the grid, because if they can find him, now note, I understand they're a special elite force, but they can find him, then everybody can find him.
Yeah.
I think that's my problem with it.
What do we think of the Bo-Katan rumors? I think they're dumb.
I don't think there's any reason for them to see Bo.
I don't either.
I don't think there's any reason for Bo to be able to be like. I don't think there's any reason for them to go to Mandalore.
No.
Like, they have no connection. They have no care about Mandalore. Like, why would they?
Mandalore has its own problems right now.
Yeah. They're in the middle of a civil war.
The only thing I could see maybe making sense is to help bridge that gap between Order 66 and the Siege of Mandalore and the Mandalorian and what happens to the Darksaber. But I think if you start throwing the Darksaber into this, it's mixing too many storylines.
Yeah. I
feel like it's TikTok.
Just, I feel like it's just, it looks too much, you know? It just seems like it would be too much to ask right now for that. I also don't want it. I really don't want it.
I love Bo-Katan, and I don't want it either.
I don't want I wouldn't mind a couple seasons of a Bo-Katan show. Like, I wouldn't mind something being called the Civil War of Mandalore. Like, I wouldn't mind, some show, animated show, or animated, based around the clone, what happened post-Clone Wars to Mandalore. Yeah. I would love that in more depth than what we got in Rebels and in the end of season 7. I would love that as a full-on show. I don't want it as a
Bad Batch plotline.
Because that doesn't make sense to me. Like, it makes sense for season 3 of The Mandalorian to be all about Mandalore. That makes sense because Din Djarin has the Darksaber. He is Mandalore. Whether he wanted it or not.
He likes it or not.
He is currently Mandalore, and the first episode is going to have to be dealing with him and Bo-Katan figuring that crap out.
I cannot wait until the Mandalorian comes back.
We're going to have, it's going to be, I was talking to somebody, I was like, man, the next 16 weeks for us is going to be really easy content.
It's just the Bad Batch.
Because it's just going to be Bad Batch, talking about every episode as we go through for the next 15 weeks. So, which I'm fine with.
It's great.
On the bright side,
it makes our lives easy.
From here on out with the other episodes, though, we will have more time to still answer your guys' questions for call-in shows. Today we really don't, because we used
was a lot to
all
get
of our
through.
Time. But we will be able to do that, do summaries, and talk about our thoughts on the shows and where we think it's going to go and speculation and stuff like that, and see if we're right or not.
Yes. Subsequent weeks are 1 30-minute episodes, so there's a lot less to talk about.
Which is perfect. Like you guys saw, we went through cut and run in 15 minutes.
Yep.
And so that's the part that's going to be nice. We'll be able to do more and still talk and do stuff and talk about the news in the area and everything like that. It will not be and these also aren't as heavy as the Mandalorian, as rich as the Mandalorian, because that is another thing. The Mandalorian, we're going to have filler episodes of this. The Mandalorian, they have filler adjacent episodes of stuff. They're not main story, but they tie in pretty well, all except for like 2 episodes in the entire series. So
maybe for next week, since it's only going to be like 15 minutes of Bad Batch conversation, we can also watch Biomes just for the heck of it.
Oh my gosh. By the way, I do want to watch Biomes. So we could talk about Biomes as some backup if we don't have people coming in. I think we'll have 15 to 20, maybe 30 minutes of conversation about Bad Batch.
And Biomes is probably a 10-minute conversation.
Yes.
But
it's 18 minutes. I looked at it.
I just want to watch it, so we'll add it into the
I really want to watch the Planet Earth. So if you guys want to, the things that you guys can watch Biomes this week. Friday, watch episode 3 of Bad Batch. That's what we'll be talking about, so that way you guys can come in and ask questions and stuff like that. But that all being said, we hope you guys have a great day. Stay awesome, do great things, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
May the Force be with you.
Always. Adios.
Bye.